Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
Hello and welcome to the Popternative podcast, the podcast and talk show where we have digital discussions from the worlds of TV, film, pop culture, social media, everything really, depending on the guest we talk about it all. As always, I'm your host, Peter Remoliotis, and on social media, you know me as PD Beats. You'll recognize my guest from The Terror, Season 2, which was on AMC. We are with Derek Mio. Derek, welcome to Popternative, man.
Hey, thank you so much for having me, Peter. Glad to be here.
No problem. Before we kind of get into some of the projects, I mean, whether you're an actor, a writer, a director, a performer, you're all storytellers. So when did Derek Mio decide that he wanted to be a storyteller?
Oh man, you're going back, way back to the early signs of me, catching that bug as a performer. I think we got some home videos of me when I'm like a little kid, just dancing to Madonna music videos and Michael Jackson music videos and just hamming it up for the camera. My parents had like a little VHS camcorder and just like interviewing me and my brother, and we're just hamming it up and getting laughs or whatever. And I'm sure that was felt good to get. And yeah, there's another piece of evidence of this of my knack for performing, I guess, is when I used to love Saturday Night Live,
of course,
and there's a cassette recording. My brother's interviewing me, and I'm playing George Bush Sr. and Ross Perot, just basically biting from Dana Carvey and his skits from SNL. And I actually put it on YouTube and Funny or Die, and just added some images and edited it together. But I was doing like impressions and stuff, and I think I got that from my mom, who to this day does impressions. And it's crazy. You talk about the origin story, and then I think we all kind of get things from our parents. I'm sure there's qualities that you can recognize in yourself that, like, oh, that's totally my dad, or like, oh, that's totally my mom.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so my mom is just like, she was always this performer type, but she was in education. She never went to the arts. But going back to the Terror in World War II, it was actually my grandfather who served in the MIS, the Military Intelligence Service, during the occupation of Japan post World War II, and his specialty was in the kabuki theater. And so what his job was to monitor the theater and make sure that there weren't any kind of hidden messages, because he knew Japanese really well. He was a translator, like Chester was in the Terror. So it was so crazy to play that role. So yeah, and so he was like drinking buddies with biggest kabuki actors, and this is actually a famous kabuki actor from back in the day. That's like his, I don't know if that's his like headshot or whatever, but like he signed it and everything. So, and my grandpa, he used to like do these kabuki like facial expression, and so I think I just got that from my mom and that side, and here we are in Hollywood, baby.
Absolutely.
Talking to Peter.
Yeah. So The Terror, obviously, I mean, you played Chester, an amazing role, amazing show. But you know what? Like, there's a lot of things that happen in history that people kind of don't realize happened. They're not educated about it. They don't really know. And your season of The Terror, because it is an anthology series, touched on something really unfortunate, terrible, and tragic that not a lot of people know about till this day. And you guys did a great job, like basically creating this kind of story and showing what actually happened. So I just want to say congrats on that, because it was really well done.
Thank you. No, I agree. This wasn't just another show. This really happened to people. And there were people that worked on the show, like myself and other crew members, who had direct links to the internment. And if you're Japanese American, then you know full well about the Japanese American internment. But if you just went through public education and I didn't learn about it in school. It kind of gets brushed over, and not the finest hour in American history. And but it's crazy because it's funny. I got this. This is a poster from the first film I ever acted in, kind of where my journey began. So this is a short film, and it took place in an internment camp. And so I'm full circle, from the first film to now The Terror. So I don't remember exactly when I first learned about it, but it might have been, being involved with that. But what's crazy about The Terror is that, the community that the show starts out in, Terminal Island, it was an actual Japanese immigrant community not far from where I live. It's like 20 minutes from here, near the Long Beach Harbor area.
So you have connections. There's connections to you in this role.
I got direct connections, Peter. The direct connections to the storyline. So it was just, as I'm reading the script, and when I first learned about the show, my friend sent me like a press release about what the second season, the concept was going to be. Because what I love about the franchise, like the first season, they take this kind of obscure historical event that really happened, and they add like a fantastical kind of genre element. Yeah. And so, but the fact that this season takes place in a Japanese American internment camp, and the show starts out in Terminal Island, where my grandpa, let me show you this other picture, Peter. This is my grandpa. This is me and my brother. So this is my grandpa, George Mio, and he grew up in Terminal Island. And that's where my great grandfather
was this something that when you audition for a role, right, you're going in your lines, are there ever kind of like is there never ever any chat or interview aspects to it where you could tell them this stuff, or did they find out about this after?
Believe me, I told them in that first interview. You know what I mean? I had to. You can't just not, right? I think I was just like, I don't know what happened, but just thank you for telling the story, because I got direct links to this story, and it was mind blowing that they chose to set it in Terminal Island, because it's a very obscure little community. No one really knows about it, but there's, my family was big in the community. They had 2 cafes, the Mio Cafe, and right when they were, really starting to make money, and they get everything taken away. Auctioneers are coming in, auctioning off their, all their expensive kitchen equipment and stuff. And they just got 48 hours to pack their things and, get out of there and find shelter somehow. And so, I think the show does a really great job of balancing, telling the history, but also keeping audiences engaged and captivated by throwing in the genre element and throwing in Japanese ghost lore, so really kind of staying true to the culture.
Did it hit you that you got a chance to play kind of the lead, so to speak, in this season? I mean, Chester was a huge part of the show. It was the show, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm sure there's still a part of me that just can't believe it. But I mean, during filming, so many moments of just kind of being out there in Vancouver where we filmed, under the stars at
Canada.
3 a.m.
Canada.
Yeah. Oh, Canada. Love Canada. Amazing crew, by the way. Just the nicest and just the sweetest and talented, hardworking people. But yeah, just kind of looking up at the stars and just being like, yeah, I can't believe it. I'm so lucky. I'm so lucky. It's a once in a lifetime role, to tell this story and have this connection to it. So I'm really proud of the work and everyone involved. The entire cast is amazing, but the whole creative team, really, yeah. I think it comes through. Yeah.
obviously, you know, the terror is like the focal point of like what I want to interview about, but I do want to kind of shift gears a little bit to another project that you did quite some time ago so listen. So here's the thing. I'm a 90s kid, right? So in the
Yeah.
2000s, you know what I mean? I was all about the pop punk and the American Pie and all that. That was like my jam, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you were part
Yeah.
of a TV show, in my opinion, that was like the last wave of that kind of teen high school party pop punk feel, which was Greek on ABC Family.
Greek, baby. Yeah.
But you know what I
No.
mean? Like, look at all the soundtrack. Like
Yeah.
the Greek sound. You can go back, and I don't know if when you guys were making it, I don't know if you were like into that type of music at the time. But like the soundtrack on Greek was awesome because it's all like the punk rock and skater punk bands and pop bands. Like it was awesome. Like I really felt like the American Pie stuff. You know what I mean?
Totally. Totally. Yeah. I mean, Greek was just, that was my first kind of regular gig. You know, I did like 35 episodes. You know, I was like a supporting cast member, but it was just so educational. You know what I mean? Because I was pretty new to acting in the industry, but I was part of this awesome show. I think of Scott Michael Foster, who played Cappy on
Yes.
Greek.
My favorite.
And
He was my favorite character growing up.
such a great character, but it's just like it's not far from who Scott is. He's just like,
But that's a
such a
real
cool,
character. Like
friendly-
I'm telling you right now, that like Cappy, that's a real
Yeah.
character. Like I have met so many people like Cappy. Like Cappy is a relatable character, man. I'm telling you.
right, just the coolest dude, right? That everyone loves and wants to be around, and that's kind of what it was on set. Like he was just such a great guy, and I got to tell you, like when I was on the set of The Terror, you know, when you're number one on the call sheet, you feel this responsibility, you know, this kind of pressure. Just
Yeah,
to
you were
kind of
number one on the call sheet.
number one on the call sheet. Like you got to set the tone, you know. And so I think I subconsciously like took Scott's lead and it was just like made a point to say hi to everyone, you know, and try to learn their names as best and as fast as I could. I mean, there's like hundreds of people on set. It's like you feel so bad, like, I'm sorry, what was your name again? You know, but it's just like, you know, just taking that time just to be like, hey, how are you? You know, good morning, and like, great job, you know, and like, great work, and just to make it a point just to like, you know, say hi and, you know, hugs and, you know, get that morning chatter out with the whole camera crew and everyone. Yeah.
For sure. Season 2, your season of The Terror, wasn't as kind of like, didn't have as many like horror scary elements as the first season did, because the first season had some borderline like horror moments. What do you kind of think about the genre of horror and thriller? Because I feel like that genre is like, I feel like a lot of actors like yourself, like that's like the go-to genre right now. Like people want to work on those amazing mind-bending independent horror films and like TV shows. Like that's a great genre right now. Have you ever thought about that?
I definitely think it's a hot genre right now, and then when you throw in projects like Get Out that add a kind of social commentary to it, it just kind of deepens the horror.
Yep.
And that's kind of what we were doing with The Terror. It's not just the terror of Yuko, the ghost, you know, it's the real terror is what's going on between the humans, you know, what the
I guess
humans are doing.
there is a lot of horror elements in the second season for sure.
Yeah, what are you talking about? She bit the dude's tongue out, you know.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about.
It's a pretty horrific moment. But yeah, that's kind of what's great about the genre is like you can use it to kind of
Was it
add in
classified
these
as like
other
horror?
layers.
When you went in to read, like even though it was the second season, was it classified anywhere as like a horror anthology?
I I don't know. I don't know if they come out and label it outright like that, but I watched the first season just to get a vibe of the show, and
And boy, there was a vibe there.
yeah, 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 it was awesome. So yeah, you just knew that it was kind of gonna be kind of in that world, but I don't know. I think we all just tried to tell the story as honest as possible, and just take our lead.
She's looking at me, man, right behind you. She's right behind you, man. Mentioned terror, mentioned Greek. COVID kind of happened, so there might have been some projects maybe that you were working on that kind of got halted. But like in the next year or so, is there anything that we should be looking out for, Derek Mio project wise?
I'm just I'm in the middle of trying to develop, some projects for myself. I shot a short film during the quarantine called Proxy, and you can watch it on YouTube. And so I've just been submitting that and getting into a couple festivals here and there, and then kind of developing some follow-ups to that, while also kind of developing other ideas for whether it's shows or movies. So
amazing.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see.
Absolutely. Well, Derek, thank you so much for coming on Popternative, man.
Oh, thanks for having me, Peter. It's a blast.
Oh, absolutely. So where can people follow you on social media to keep up to date with everything?
You can find me on Instagram at Derek_Mio, Twitter at Derek Z Mio, and then I also have my YouTube channel, Derek Mio.
Amazing, man. And they could obviously watch your season of The Terror like right now if they want to go back and watch it.
Yeah, it's streaming on Hulu.
Yep.
Right now.
Absolutely.
And if you don't have Hulu, if you have Amazon Prime, I don't know if you're in other countries, you can buy it on there too.
Absolutely. Well, this has been Popternative. YouTube.com/Popternative for previous episodes. Until next time, this is Derek Mio and PD Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.